Is conversion the most important metric on Etsy? What is a high conversion rate, and does a high conversion rate mean that Etsy will show your listings more often? And should I be worried if my conversion rate is low, and what should I do to increase it? Today I'm going to look closely at conversion. What is it? What is important and what not important? And you really want to stay till the end of this video, because I guarantee that I'm going to blow your mind and change your thoughts about high and low conversion. But before we get started with that, I want to know, what is your shop's conversion? Let me know in the comments down below, and then we can have a look at everybody's and see how big a range is out there, and if anybody's lower than me. So conversion is something I get asked about all the time. It's clearly a subject that people keep an eye on. And in 2019, when Etsy updated their stats, they even included conversion in it, so it must be important, right? Let's look into this. Firstly, what is conversion? Conversion is the percent of sales you get on average per the number of visits to your shop. To calculate this, you divide the number of orders by the number of visits and then multiply by 100. So simply put, a higher conversion number means you get more sales for the same number of views. So that sounds awesome, right? More sales, less work? We need to look into this some more. What does Etsy say about conversion? They tell us it's an important metric to track, but it's best tracked over large periods of time. Don't look at daily or weekly, look at much bigger time periods. And it can be impacted by things like photography, pricing, and even reviews. The global average conversion for e-commerce is around 2.9%. But what is good varies, and on Etsy they reckon between 1 and 5% is a good conversion. Oh, ouch, I'm not even close to that. Does that mean my shop's no good? Well, I am in the top 5% of Etsy sellers. There really must be more to it than this. Wait, they have more to say about this in their ultimate guide to search. This is the Etsy Seller's Bible, and really if you sell on Etsy you should give this a read or two. It's super important. They have a whole section on improving your conversion, and they say a better conversion might increase where you rank on Etsy. So it's true then, you'll rank better if you have a higher conversion. Let's dig even deeper. What things can cause your conversion to drop? As we said, it's a metric that depends on two factors: how many sales and how often it's viewed. So factors that cause people to be less likely to buy will drop this value. These kind of factors can include really terrible photographs. Obviously, if you can't see it very well, you aren't going to want to buy it. Prices, and not always the case of too high prices. Too low prices can be off-putting as well, because buyers wonder what's wrong with your items. Really bad reviews or no reviews at all. Obviously this is a difficult one for a new shop. If you don't have reviews, you can't invent them, but it is a case that many buyers want to look at reviews to feel trust. So it's just something we have to live with when we're brand new. Off-putting policies. Not all buyers read the policies, but the ones that do can be put off. I have heard some terrible things people put in the policies. They're there to protect your back, but you don't want to put things into the policies that sound like you really don't care. For example, quite often people will put into the policies, you'll ship it within the given time, but if the item doesn't turn up, it's not your fault because you posted it. Now, whether or not that might be true in your country, that is terribly off-putting, and that is putting in the mind your buyer that the item might not turn up. That's not a thought that they want to have. That it'll take a long time to receive. Processing and shipping times, if they're long, can put people off. Sometimes the opposite, especially if people are getting excited to be waiting for this exclusive handmade thing just by you. Sometimes if they've got to wait a bit, this could add value almost, rather than things that are shipped out immediately. But it does impact in whether people buy or not. Bad descriptions. If you don't care or have really bad grammar, or it's just not enticing, or it doesn't answer the questions. If a buyer kind of likes your item, goes and looks, has a question about the size or the colour or the make, and can't easily find that answer in your description, quite often they won't bother to message you. They'll just say, no, I'll go and shop from somebody else. Do these things all make sense? They're all things that you can kind of control. But wait, there is more. Where views come from can make a big difference to your conversion. Social media views convert way less because people, for instance, are on Pinterest to build boards and get ideas. They're not on Pinterest shopping. So they might be less likely to buy, or they're less likely to buy right now. The competition obviously makes a big difference. How does your item stand out compared to the other items? If it's just not that great, then you'll convert less than the other listings about you. And what kind of keyword you're showing up for. Long-tail keywords that are super specific, when a buyer searches for those things, they get a good match. The items they see are what they were looking for. So if they typed in bronze and opal steampunk engagement ring, they have a good idea in their head of the type of item they're wanting, what the type of item they're looking for. And if they see your item that is clearly a bronze and opal steampunk engagement ring, then they're way more likely to buy. However, if they use a broad match, something like ring, they don't really know what they want. They might just use that search to get a couple of ideas, and then they'll search again. So these broad terms convert less. Okay, but we need to dig a little bit deeper again. Will a low conversion rate actually hurt my shop? Does this make sense? Let's think for a moment what a search engine is actually designed for. In the case of Etsy, the search engine is not for us. The search engine is to make Etsy money. It is to take the buyers and show them the thing that they're most likely to buy. So for an example, if an item is getting lots of views from off-site, if it's bringing in traffic from somewhere else, does it make sense for Etsy to penalise that if the conversion isn't quite so high? That item is bringing in new people to Etsy, people who might never have heard of the platform before, people who might come back and become regular buyers. So effectively, new money for Etsy and new money for Etsy sellers without Etsy having to do any work at all. So it makes no sense at all to penalise people, for example, for bringing in high numbers of people from Pinterest, even if they're not making a huge amount of sales from it. The sales that are there were free. But also on the flip side, this is somewhere where Etsy sellers could really game the system. They could play games where lots of people who aren't interested come in from somewhere else, come in from a game to look at your views, to look at your item, to really boost your views. So if Etsy was favouring these external views, what might happen is people who gamed the system might get themselves up to the top of all the searches when they don't have very good items. So Etsy can't really boost you in the search for having these off-site views, but it can't really penalise you in the search either. So these would probably have a fairly negative impact. And also, if different types of search terms convert differently, it wouldn't be fair to penalise you if you were doing well in one search term and doing poorly in another. It wouldn't be fair to hold you back from the search term you're doing well in. In fact, if we look at the listings that are doing the best in these broad search terms, they tend to come from really big shops. So it cannot be a case that Etsy's holding them back, can it? So let's look at a broad keyword. Ring, that has loads of searches. Almost 22,000 searches a month. But look at that, the click-through rate is low at around 9%. So only 2,000 clicks. And let's say 10 listings are shown, then that's an average click-through rate of just under 1%. 200 clicks. So let's imagine a low conversion of 1%. That would equal, for each shop shown on that search, 2 sales per month. So let's compare that to a long-tail keyword, emerald engagement ring. 760 views, 107 clicks, so 10 clicks per listing. So even if we had a super high conversion of 10%, that would only equal 1 sale. So an item being shown for the term ring, even at a really low conversion rate, would be making double the sales per month than the item being shown for emerald engagement ring. So even at a lower conversion, it's still making Etsy more money. So it does not make sense to hold back a listing that's making money. And would you be avoiding keywords that were getting you double the number of sales per month? That's not good business sense. So the type of keyword can't actually be holding us back. So we're starting to get an idea that perhaps the overall conversion rate is not so important. Basically, if we improved our shop and was doing better, we might actually see our conversion rate drop when our shop is doing better. So yeah, it can't be important. So what conversion is actually important? It is actually the conversion for that one listing, for that one search term. So if your listing for the search term ring sells more than the other listings that are showing up for the search term ring, then Etsy's more likely to show you for that one search term. If for a different keyword you do less good, then Etsy will show you less for that keyword. But wait, there's more. The CEO of Etsy told us a while back that Etsy were prioritizing couches over cushions, favoring the higher priced items. Well, actually not the higher priced. What is going to make Etsy more money? Because people could try and game the system by bumping up their prices in the hope of getting seen more. And then low priced items would just not have a chance. And we can see on Etsy that low priced items can still do really well. So we've got to think more like it, that the search engine is going to prioritize the item that's going to give us most money per impression. So a $1 item would have to have 10 times the number of sales of a $10 item for the same number of impressions. And that's not really as unfair as it sounds, because higher priced items tend to convert a little bit less as people have to think about them, whereas a 10-cent item, you don't even have to think about it before you throw it in your cart. So what metric should we be looking at if conversion isn't all that helpful? Etsy does have some stats that not that many people use. The Search Analytics Beta. You get this from your dashboard, Marketing Search Analytics Beta, and look at a large period of time. So the numbers you want to look at here, your impressions. This is Etsy showing your items in search. The conversion rate here is interesting, so look at what items stand out as particularly high or low. The high ones you might want to focus on. Make a few more listings, put that term into the start of your titles and tags, and find similar items. But another thing you can look at is your revenue per impression. So divide revenue by the number of impressions. What terms are standing out? If they have very low impressions, then you might just need more data for it to be statistically significant. Investigate these terms and see how many people search for them, to see if it's actually worth focusing on them. But if you see an item that's getting high money per impression and it has high impressions but you're in a low position, bingo, you found a good one. Double down on this keyword. This is a super keyword. Try and make some more listings around it. Try and rank better for this. And if your item has high impressions and is ranking in a high position, then that tells you might want to, this is where you want to look at trying to do better in converting. This might be time for a new photo shoot on your items. So I hope that helped give you some kind of ideas of the things that Etsy might be looking at. Don't panic about that overall shop conversion, but think about how the individual keywords are working for you. You're wanting the keywords that have enough people searching, and when they search, they find you. And that way, Etsy's gonna love you because you're making them money. Hope that helps. See you next time.